This is the only video you will need to watch to decide whether or not Vapi or ElevenLabs is the right choice for you, okay? So this is a video where we are going to be comparing Vapi with ElevenLabs and which one is the best AI voice solution for you. So first of all, when it comes to Vapi, the primary focus of Vapi is end-to-end voice agents, calls, and bots, okay? So as you can see here, you have assistants, you have tools, and everything basically that you need to build a voice agent. And it's very, very specific with specific prompts, with specific settings and stuff like that. On the other hand, we have ElevenLabs. ElevenLabs is a high fidelity text-to-speech platform. Plus, you also have voice generation, voice cloning agents, but it's not primarily a voice agent platform, right? It's a platform where you can, build, your own agents, but it's not a primary or primary focus is not on the agents itself, okay? So when it comes to Vapi is, when it comes to like voice agents and telephony integration, it's strong. It's built for voice calls, for bot flows, for testing telephony. So when it comes to connecting like phone numbers, when it comes to calling other, people and calling a lot of people at the same time, Vapi is really, really good for that, right? So it's really good for voice calls, for bot flows, for testing, telephony. Even if you're building this for other clients, it has a lot of customization options. On the other hand, ElevenLabs is good. It has agent capabilities, but its emphasis is initially more on text-to-speech and voice generation, okay? So you will have less options while building agents. So if you go to agents here, you will have less of these options than in Vapi, okay? And in Vapi, you even see like the cost per minute and the latency, the ping, which is really, really useful if you want to build like sustainable AI voice agents, okay? So next up is obviously voice cloning and custom voices. It's possible via modular stack, so you can plug in other voice modules in Vapi. However, in ElevenLabs, it's excellent. So in ElevenLabs, you can always go and you can go to your creative platform and you can go here and you can pretty much create and clone any voice. You have instant voice clone. Usually, since I'm using Vapi, I'm going to be a little bit biased here. I'm going into ElevenLabs, I'm copying the voice, and then I'm bringing that voice in Vapi. That's how I usually work because my primary goal here is to use Vapi for voice calls and only for voice calls, okay? With that, Vapi is really good at that. However, it's not really that great at, going out there and voice cloning, okay? Or voice quality, I would say, in terms of voice cloning, so not in terms of quality, okay? So in terms of the multilingual support, ElevenLabs falls short here. It has like 29 languages. Vapi, on the other hand, has 100 plus languages, which is really, really amazing, okay? In terms of like developer infrastructure flexibility, very strong API, native modular plug-in provider modules. You have like a very for those of you who are watching this are not developers, you can skip this part, but essentially it's developer friendly. On the other hand, ElevenLabs has some limitations. So ElevenLabs again is much better. For like it has an API key and stuff like that, and developer support voice library, but Vapi has much stronger API than ElevenLabs and much more like things you can do with it, okay? So obviously in terms of pricing, Vapi is per minute. ElevenLabs, you have to pay for the credits. So for example, right now, if I go to subscription here, it likes $5 a month. For $5 a month, you can get like 30,000 credits. However, again, in most cases, Vapi is going to be better for those AI voice agents, okay? So right now, what is the verdict, right? So if your primary need is voice agents or bots for phone, inbound, outbound calls, conversational flows, if you want to integrate into telephony or like support system, Vapi has the edge. Its architecture is designed from the ground up for voice agents and conversation orchestration. So essentially, you can basically go here and you can do whatever you want. In terms of voice, You have so many features here that it's honestly insane. And all of these features are catered towards an AI voice agent. And this is really good if you wanna like build bigger, even bigger like infrastructure for AI voice agents. I would choose Vapi for this, okay? If your primary need is like ultra realistic voice generation, voice cloning, text to speech for like content, videos, audiobooks, multi-language voice design, you can go with ElevenLabs. However, I'm using both of these, and I'm using it, as I said before, to clone the voice in ElevenLabs, and I'm bringing that voice into Vapi because ElevenLabs has a much better feature for cloning voices. However, when it comes to like just, voice agents and that kind of infrastructure, I would choose Vapi. So if you need both, again, you might consider like a hybrid use. So that's something that I recommended to you as well in this video. For example, for voice cloning, you go in ElevenLabs. For some other things, and most of the things, like 90% of the things, you will go into Vapi if you are going to use Vapi for AI voice agents. Okay, so again, to kind of have my recommendation here based on like typical scenarios for a startup building an outbound call agent to schedule meetings via phone, go with Vapi. It's lower latency, telephone integration. It also has like voice agent flows built in. For someone like a content producer, like doing voiceovers, audiobooks, or multilingual narration, you can go with ElevenLabs. It's much better. So again, for like an enterprise that needs a full voice agent, I would use Vapi. And again, you can keep in mind like licensing, volume, high fidelity, text to speech, stuff like that in ElevenLabs. Also, Vapi, if you're working with clients, make sure you have HIPAA compliance and all the other compliances. Vapi has that built in. However, you can also purchase those alongside. So yeah, again, in terms of Vapi versus ElevenLabs, again, I pretty much said my own recommendations based on your situation. My own kind of like personal recommendation is Vapi because I'm using it for voice agents. However, if you want to use ElevenLabs for voice agents, you can use it. However, Vapi is much better in that regard because it's specific to voice agents. On the other hand, ElevenLabs is quite good because it's much more simple. So if you want to build like simple AI voice agents, you can go with ElevenLabs. But again, Vapi is clearly my winner here. However, again, it really depends on your type of situation. So hopefully you guys kind of take this into consideration. If you want another video, we can create another video on this one, or Vapi versus some other softwares in the AI voice agent industry. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video.